What's up, family? It's been a minute since we've been live, and I just wanted to take this opportunity kind of to just come on to check out you guys to see how things are going, and just really talk a little bit. We're going into that time where it is the commercially recognized holiday season. So some people do feel different ways around the holidays. Whether you celebrate them or not, it doesn't take away from the impact that culturally we would feel sometimes when it comes to anything, meaning extra time away when you're no longer used to your routine as it relates to going to work and doing the things that you need to do. So it's really like, how are you doing? What's been going on with you? What are some new things that have been happening in your life? I can't wait to share with you all the exciting things that have been happening um, in my life. I've just been in a unique place. I have my moments where things are like completely great. And then, you have those moments where you're like, it's not so great, but it's not at a place where I was. I really was in a dark place for a while. There were certain things that I just was challenged with all the way around. I think anytime we're dealing with any type of life transitions, I think naturally there's going to um, be some type of, I don't want to necessarily say a downward feeling, but I think anytime that we have to adjust to anything that has happened in our lives and it was part of our routine, I do believe that there is going to be some type of residual impact, and how we process those things will really let us know what are those next steps. So a couple of things that I don't mind sharing and things like that. um my bro said I need to send him the link, so I'm gonna go ahead and make sure I send that over to him as well. But yeah, it's just been a unique time in my life. The very first thing that I went through, which I was shocked that I did experience and I had to endure, was a divorce. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm a family person. So divorce to me was never something I would have considered, but it is something that did happen to me. And, you know, it's just interesting. It's so many different things that you learn along the way that you didn't realize that you needed to know. And so, in that whole process, that whole being, that whole thing of whatever it was, it's like I just learned so much from that process. The biggest thing that I learned, of course, is to never say never. Never say never, because it seemed like when you're in that never say never moment, it you will be tested with those things. Um, So it really did test me in ways that I didn't know that I would be tested, but equally it brought out some strength in me that I didn't know existed as well. Um, I am one of those people who are totally committed when I'm committed to anything. I'm 100% committed, and I will tell you, every day is a new step in that healing process. I am learning to live life independent of those other things. For so long, I was talking to some of my friends that I was extremely close to. Is so much of my identity was connected to um, being a being a husband and being a father and having that controlled unit, that it was odd for me to no longer have that. And I often ask the question, what is next for me? And that's where I am right now in that journey. It's like figuring out like what is next for me, what are some things that I truly want to do and will do, but also just exploring every part of me. And I think we owe it to ourselves to find moments in our lives and to find time in our lives where we will ask ourselves that question, like, what is next and what does next look like? So right now I'm in that place where my next for me is really embarking on a journey of healing, but not healing in a sense of where I feel like I have it all figured out and I know exactly what I want to do in each area. You know what I mean? I want to make sure that when I embark this path of healing moving forward, it is coming from a place that is organic, that is true, that is not necessarily defined by me in particular, but is something that is readily available and open and organic for me to experience, you know? And so that's what I want to do in this journey of my life and in this walk. I want to do everything that is organic, everything that is true, and everything that is really purposeful and good to me. So I find myself in this journey. Cordell and I talk about this a lot. I feel like if something is meant to happen, there will be this unique way of like us returning to it. And I do see my brother Iconic Bond is on, but it looked like he walking somewhere. So I'm giving him time to get in this spot. I'm gonna give you time to get in this spot before I bring him all the way on. But yeah, I feel like there is a point where we have to return because there may be certain things that we have missed along the way. I am very connected to my faith. And one of the things that in the sacred text that I remember is that when people experience the Heavenly Father, they usually built an altar there, a memorial, if you will, to remind him, to remind them of the place where he touch them at. And I think that in our lives, we do the same thing. We have these mile markers or these memorials that we have built along the way that will give us insight, that will give us wisdom, that will give us strength to who we are, but also to remind us from the ways that we have come, from the things that we have conquered, from all of those things. And I think when life starts lifing, and it gets a little heavy for us, it is our responsibility to return to those things. And that's where I am now, returning to so many familiar things. And it's funny how life will prepare you for some of those most damaging moments, or for some of those most hurtful moments, or for some of those things that we're not planned for. It seemed like spiritually there are buffers that are actually put in place. There are things that are actually there available for you to happen. um so let me get my brother on 1 second. What's going on, bro? I can't hear you though.
What's up, bro?
Not much. Where are you? I thought you were already at home.
Yeah, right. I'm in the car.
Okay. Yep. So you were right. This is one of those things you were like telling us to do.
You
Saying
got
that
to.
for us to bring back the live. But also I just felt this urgency today. Like I need to just go live and check in. Several different reasons. It's one is this is that commercially accepted holiday season.
Right.
And whether someone celebrates the holidays or not, that still doesn't take away the fact that they're impacted by it because it's a change in routine. So if you're used to going to work, you have more days off. If you don't have family, you're spending more time by yourself. When you see people spending time more with their families and things like that, that can affect you if you're by yourself. If you've been through any type of transition, lost someone, going through a divorce, any type of separation of any kind, can be somewhat daunting and heavy on a person during this time, you know?
Yeah.
So I think it's just good to check in. So how have you been, brother?
Bro, I've been amazing.
So
Having
what's been
brothers
some new
like
things
you.
happening?
Huh?
I'm about to say, what are some new things that have been happening for you?
New. Let's see. Iconic Bond is back at it, making music.
Yes. Is something happening
Uh,
tomorrow?
yeah. New single coming out called Aim High. Streaming everywhere, as per usual.
Okay.
Um,
You're gonna
and
give
then
us
we,
like what is the song about? Like you're gonna give us something, or we're gonna have to just wait till tomorrow?
the song the song was really inspired by this moment where I was just sitting by myself one night and I was like, man, I have been complacent for way too long. You know, I have been sitting, just not, and it was kind of like COVID, like post COVID, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
not, I wouldn't call it depression, but like this slump where like just did not want to do anything, wasn't inspired, wasn't around people like that, you know, the haven't been around music a lot. So anyway, so one night I'm just sitting and I was like, you know what? Maybe it's time to, you know, forget all that. Let's just go forth and do something, make something. And it just so happened that at that same time I heard this beat, and the beat was called Aim High. So it immediately stuck with me because I was like, I have to do this, right? And that's how the track, you know, came out. And in that night, I was able to do that.
Got it.
So yeah, so the track is really me telling myself and everybody else, you gotta aim high, not low. Take a deep breath, no stressing, right? Just keep
Wow.
going.
That's a
Um,
message all within itself right there.
yeah.
So
Anyway,
when
so
it
yeah,
comes
so new. Go ahead. Go ahead.
now, I do have this question. So when it comes to songs like Aim High and all of that, um,
Right.
are you intentional about making sure that you're making content that is relevant to what other people are experiencing? Or is there just like a combination of um I guess like like some people just make music because they want it to feel good. Is yours always connected to some type of education or some type of empowerment, if you will?
Yes, 100%. But what happens?
We losing you. We losing you. You there, bro?
Yeah, I'm there. I can still hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, there you go. You're back.
I said, yeah. I mean, I'm always looking for something that could help somebody else, whether it be elevating them, inspiring them, motivating them, whatever it may be. But it always starts very personal for me. So if I'm going through something, um, and it inspires me to write or create and release a song, um, typically when I'm in that mood, whatever that mood might be, I start seeing it a lot in people. And some people will say, well, you're just projecting yourself on others. But it's really like honestly, over the years, and after meeting you, Jay, and just being more in tune with my own self, I'm starting to notice people's emotions a lot more clearly, and I start seeing that now. You know, when I wrote this song, a lot of people around me were also in that slump. We're
Wow.
also, we're also feeling like just very complacent. Whether that could be like from comfort, you just been in this, in a spot for so long that you became comfortable, or whether it's some kind of negative energy that's just holding you back from pushing forth. So it always starts from a personal place, but I always have the intention that it could impact somebody.
Let me get to these comments real quick. We got Jeremy on. What's going on, brother? And then we have my other brother on, Reggie. He says, "You are strong. You're a strong brother, my brother. Whatever comes your way, you can handle. Yes, the winds may blow, but you continue to stand strong. Your roots are secure. Love you, brother. Love you too, man. Thank you so much."
That's awesome.
And then we got Mama Auntie Cousin Gail. She's literally all of those things.
Mama,
Hey,
auntie, cousin.
yeah, like no, like
Because
seriously, she's all of those things. She's my best friend, my childhood best friend's mom.
that's awesome.
So that's the mom part, but we found out that her ex-husband was my uncle,
Okay.
and she's actually my cousin on my dad's side. So it's a whole bunch of things going on there, and she's all of those
Wow.
things, like for real. So
That's
it's
awesome.
definitely good to see her. And then in response to what you were saying, Jeremy Way said, "Shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, then you still
Your
land amongst
land.
the stars."
Yes, sir.
Yep. And I told everybody to to get ready for your new single, to go ahead and check it out. So I put the link in there.
I appreciate it, bro.
Now I will say, a lot of times we don't realize, and I told you I was going to talk to you anyway, which was so funny. I was talking to someone yesterday, and they asked me a particular question about why I don't do certain things.
Mm,
And sometimes it's things that I truly may want to do, or things that I may truly entertain.
right.
And the only thing that I came up with, which is different, is that I used to say I didn't trust it.
Right.
But then I realized, when I was talking to this particular person, I said I didn't feel safe and I didn't feel like I belong.
Mm,
One of the
okay.
things that I'm realizing as we journey through life, safety and protection is extremely important, but
Agreed.
also having a sense of belonging. And so some
Mm,
people feel like just because they're connected to you and just because they're familiar with you, that
mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that they provide a space where you feel like you belong. Because we start
Mm,
talking about having safe spaces. So there are several
right.
people who intend on having safe spaces,
Right.
but it's not a question of whether they're safe or not, as much as it a question of, do I feel like I belong with you?
Do you feel like in order to feel like you belong, that there has to be a sense of safety? Like, is it hand in hand, or
I
vice
f-
versa? I guess.
I feel like it's a add-on. I feel like safety is important no matter where we are. I think our natural instinct is to feel
Right.
protected and safe, but
Right.
to divulge and be organically ourselves, or expose ourselves, reveal ourselves, uncover ourselves, I think a sense of belonging must be connected. Meaning, do I feel like these are my people? Do I
Mm,
feel
like.
like this, I can be me here, because not only I feel safe, but I feel like this is my village, this is my tribe, these are my people.
Okay. Second question. If that's the case, does it mean that you have to have some kind of something that you can relate to with these people or that person in order for you to feel like you belong, or can people that have nothing in common feel like they belong with each other?
nothing in common would be a loaded question because we would have to peel back that. I think that um, when we talk about this too, because I know from a faith standpoint, it's finding the right word for you. But like I can speak on mine. Like I feel like there are certain connections that we just have with an individual, and because I think that we're spiritual beings on a physical journey. I think
Right.
spiritually we connect with an individual without even knowing them personally. That's why some
Right.
people you meet instantly you connect with, and some people you have may have known your whole lifetime and you could never be like 100% with them. It's just like something isn't vibing,
Mm,
so something holds you back a little bit, you know?
mm, okay. Yeah. And see, for us, and the reason I'm asking is because I was actually right before I called in, I was reading um, this passage from the Quran that talks about where God says, "I created you as tribes so you can get to know each other." To all of humanity, He's referencing all of humanity, right? So I feel, from my perspective, it's like we almost have a duty to get to know each other, whether we don't have anything in common. And I know that's not really what we're talking about from like a safe space or feel like you belong, but I feel like that is the first step, is to actually spark conversation with each other.
Well, I feel like that's kind of in line with what I was saying because
Right,
he said I created you in tribes.
right.
So if somebody is not part of your tribe, you don't feel like you belong. See,
I
I like
maybe. Why do you say that? Why do you say that? Maybe unpack that
I don't
a
think
little
a
bit.
tribe has context of like if I knew you or not. I think a tribe is something that is familiar. It's a familiar spirit. Like you can tell, like instantly in that moment, there's a connection. And you know, I'm big on like not forcing things. Like if something organically happens and we just gel and connect, I feel like you're part of my tribe. I feel like we were meant to be together. Now, if there are some people that I just don't vibe with, it's not that you are a bad person. There's just no connection. And
Mm,
so I don't believe in forcing connections, and I don't believe in making people stay in places that they don't want to be. So I'm very much believing in organic spaces, and I believe organically, if we don't add anything to it, we will naturally migrate to those spaces and people that we belong.
right. So maybe just to clarify, the word tribe in that phrase was more from a cultural standpoint or race standpoint, right? So it was like, yeah, God created us, and you got I'm Egyptian, right? I'm an immigrant, but I got to know Jay, who's an African American, and now we are brothers, right? So I take that as a what's the word I'm looking for? As essentially like justification of that phrase, that he created me and you in two different tribes, but we got to know each other.
But I feel like we're collectively of the same tribe because how many Muslim Americans or Egyptian Americans have I been in proximity to that we just didn't jail? You see what I mean?
I don't know.
I,
Yeah, yeah.
I, well, how many people have you? You can look. How many African Americans you done been around
Too many.
that you just didn't vibe with? I mean, those things happen,
Right,
and I think that there is a familiar something that connected us to
right,
say, I trust you, I feel safe with you, even though I don't know
right,
you. Even though we had that
right.
conversation, actually, like, why
Uh-huh.
am I close to you
Yeah.
for a shorter
Why
power?
are we friends?
Right. Nothing should have us in the same vicinity of each other, but yet here we are, and we're not only friends, we're brothers, and we're close in that.
Right.
Let me see.
Agreed.
Jeremy had something. He said, so much truth there. I've connected with strangers deeper than those I've known for years, a lot faster. a prime example. Me and Jeremy are connecting, and I didn't know him, but he's someone that I look forward to seeing. You know what I mean? Like it's some people
Right.
you just look forward to seeing. You know that they're going to be at a certain spot, so you expect them to be there.
Right. Yeah.
There's several people that I know that are going to be in certain places, but it doesn't mean I'm expecting to see them or I'm looking forward to it. And I just
Yeah.
feel like in spaces that we belong, words don't have to tie that together. I think it's something that is just organic and you can't explain it. And I think that's the beauty of it. It's like not having to explain certain things, but just allowing whatever that is to
Right.
evolve.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. And so, speaking of evolution, you and your best friend started an organization.
Yes, sir.
Not only started the organization, made it official in a short amount of time. So you're gonna tell the people what it is that they have been missing?
Yeah. So we recently kicked off the House of Creatives, which is a nonprofit organization, which is now 501c3. Um, and the I guess the holistic mission is to provide a path for underrepresented creatives to dig down to the next kind of level. It's kind of twofold in what we're trying to do right now as an organization. So everything is kind of in phases. So long term, there's going to be a lot of different things that we do. Right now, what we're looking to do is help diversify um, the local entertainment shows. So, for example, we were able to get our first partnership with the Holly Springs Chamber of Commerce,
Woo-hoo.
and we partnered with them, and they allowed us, which honestly we're so blessed to have had this opportunity to manage A to Z their entertainment for a festival called Springs Fest that happened earlier this year. And it was just such an amazing experience. We were able to get artists and genres of music that had never touched the stage in Holly Springs. And it was amazing to hear some of the feedback even from that. And I know, Jay, you had gotten some feedback as well. Like somebody had said, I didn't know there was hip hop in Holly Springs. I didn't know
Yeah.
there was R&B in Holly Springs, which to me just further, made the House of Creatives more real for me personally, because that's one of our main goals, is to help bring more diversity and more diverse talent. And then on the other hand, we also want to give back. So as an artist, I've kind of had to pave my own way through the industry, right? So I've had to learn everything from how to produce, how to record, how to mix, master. Got a network of producers, engineers, studios, the marketing, the distribution, the registration. Like there's a lot of things that go into making music. And because I learned that, I also felt like I had a responsibility and really a wanting. Like I really just wanted to give back and kind of pay it forward. So the other aspect of the organization is artist development. So we want to help underrepresented artists grow, whether that be growing from, from a talent perspective, whether it's like from a business perspective, from a marketing perspective, whatever it may be. So if anybody that's listening now, or if you know anybody that's a creative from an underrepresented demographic, please reach out to us. We would love to connect and build and hopefully help more underrepresented artists grow and get out there and get on these big stages.
Yeah, and I add to that. First of all, bro, I'm proud of you. I get excited for anybody that births parts of them. So I'm excited that you stepped out there and did it. And I'm excited for both you and Mo of what it's going to be. We had the first event on October 21st, and in my mind, it was definitely a success because diversity was definitely there. And I definitely want to clarify because this is my work. When we talking about diversity, it doesn't mean anti-white. It doesn't mean non-white.
Right.
It means
Right.
everyone that's within the spectrum, and we had all types of people that were there, and the vibe was just a beautiful vibe, and people made connections from that, and I'm excited to
Yeah.
see what that is going to be in the future. I think that you're on to something that is definitely needed.
Yep.
Look, Jeremy is another creative. He
It is.
does production over at Oasis.
Okay.
So he does production over there at Oasis, and of course, Sandy, Pastor Sandy,
Sandy.
because
Yep.
we're on the board with her with the Interfaith Alliance together, Holly Springs Interfaith Alliance. Let me see what
Yep.
Jeremy said. He said, "Same here, brother. Always looking forward to the next time." Man, come on. See, that's what I'm talking about. And he got my namesake. That touches me, right?
I know.
Got my name. He got my name. But speaking of that, it's been a lot of wins because one thing that I didn't know that I was going to be doing that I am doing, and we get to do that together, is I didn't know that I was going to be this involved in community initiatives. And the community initiatives are like through the roof. And I'm so proud that you're a part of that, not only serving as entertainment, but when you did the thing, like for instance, at Holly Springs for the music festival,
Right.
what was it? Music Spring Fest. When it was the Spring Fest,
Yeah.
man, the sound sounded a whole lot better. The feeling was a whole lot better. It was hot out there, but you couldn't control the temperature. But it was just an amazing experience. And then we did the food festival, but we didn't do any sound, but we were there with the Holly Springs Interfaith Alliance.
Yeah.
But I love how suggestions were taken, and this is not a stab at any other town, but at least what I can appreciate about the administration of Holly Springs, they do listen, and even if they don't agree, they do try to implement some of those things that are for the greater good, and you do see that, and I think that that's a powerful thing, and that's where impact happens. We did Compassion Day. We did the Compassion Day follow-up. We did the pre-Compassion
and the
Day.
follow-up.
We've done a lot of things, and I think that those things were actually necessary for me, because I think one of the things when we talk about development, one of the things that was missed is I didn't understand the community initiative component, and to be honest, I was kind of terrified of it. Like I like things organized and structured in the corporate setting, and I wasn't sure how it worked in a community setting. And now I'm doing logistics for everybody.
But that's awesome, right? Because somebody saw. I mean, they all really see, Jay, you're an amazing project manager extraordinaire. Like you can take something, logistics, all of it, and you have been able to level up all of these community events, which again, not a knock on any organization, because I'm also in the community and I have put on some ghetto events myself, and sometimes we miss that part, and that part is what really truly elevates those events, in my opinion.
I definitely 1,000 times agree. But the funny thing is, it's so much that you learn within that process. Meaning, I learned more about me in that process. Like, oh, I don't have a problem with this. I was just afraid of certain parts of it that I didn't know about. But being in a space, talking about belonging, first, Pastor Brickle made a space that I felt like I belonged, and it was okay to not only make mistakes, but interject suggestions that could possibly improve it or make it 1,000 times worse. But he trusted me enough to do that, so therefore I trusted him enough to just give my best. And I think that's important.
Trust.
Let me see. Yeah. Hey, Lenora. We've been playing phone tag, so I'm gonna call you one of these times, and we'll get it together. So we did a lot of the community events. One thing that has changed for me that I've always wanted to do and I was saying this before you got on, is like, I don't know if the Quran has this, but in the Old Testament, or yeah, the Old Testament in the scriptures, it talks about whenever they encountered the Heavenly Father, they would build like memorials. And that's how these descriptors came. Like, I don't know if you've ever heard somebody say something like, this is Jehovah Rapha or Jehovah Nisi, Jehovah Tiskanu. Those are like different places, like wherever he provided, they'll be like, okay, this is a place where the Heavenly Father provided. So whenever you see that memorial, you'll remember he touched there. And so the idea is to remind you of the many ways that he can perform in your life.
Okay. So, like, can you explain that? Like, can you give me an example of a memorial? What does that mean? Just so I can
like
understand it.
when we talk, like an altar.
Okay.
Like an altar.
Like an actual memorial. Yeah, I got you. Okay.
Well, it depends, because like when people talk about memorials, sometimes they think about tombstones, and I'm not thinking about that.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's funny because we studied the story of Abraham, Isaac, and Ishmael. So
Right.
that's a prime example, but that's where Jehovah Jireh, my provider, that's where Jehovah Jireh came from. That story, because he provided a ram in the bush.
Gotcha. Okay. So then say that name again, Jehovah
Jireh.
Jehovah Jireh. Okay, so you say Jehovah Jireh, and then the name of the memorial again?
That's what it is. I mean, the memorial doesn't have a name. It's to remind you of that's what happened there at
Got
the spot.
you. Okay, I get it. Gotcha. Okay.
So I think subconsciously we do the same thing. Like when milestones happen in our lives, we remember where certain things changed or evolved in our lives, and I think that we return. Because the funny thing is, I just started back singing. And I haven't done that in 15 years. So I'm getting the chops back together. I'm back in Hebrew class. Haven't done that in 14 years. I'm back, working with these church people. I'm working with church people all up in these ministries, but working with different organizations, religious organizations. I haven't done that in years. So it's a lot of amazing things that are happening, but it's also a lot of returning once again to that organic self.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't feel more at peace anywhere except when I'm doing the community work. Honestly. Like, I was even talking to my boss at work, and I forgot, somebody was asking me, I can't remember if it was you, Jay, or I think it might have been you. I can't remember. Somebody's like, what positive thing outside of work would need to happen for you to leave work and just pursue that 100%? I said, well, it would have to be something like a nonprofit like the House of Creatives or some kind of community serving thing. And all I really need is my bills paid. Like, that's all I want, because I love doing that stuff. Like, it makes you feel fulfilled. At least for me, it makes me feel fulfilled more than anything else I do when we're out there serving or providing some kind of impact or having any kind of impact to the community.
Oh, I ain't gonna lie, but you know what? 2024 is gonna be our year, bro, where we're gonna get these grants and get these things to do, because nothing makes me feel better when I'm helping people understand truly how those values can connect them to their deeper, like those aha moments that people experience.
Yeah.
I love that. And I love bringing people together, especially people who never thought that they would be in the same room with each other. I love being in positions to influence positive, healthy connections. And I do wish that we could do that, like help navigate and deal with problems and help people really find who they are, but really help people tap into the things that their values have either hidden or can influence. I really want to do more of that. And that is in the community, that is doing with the organizations. And that's why I'm grateful for like even the partnerships, like you've even mentioned how the Holly Springs Chamber of Commerce has been willing to help the House of Creatives, but they have also been instrumental in helping Love is a Parable. The town has been supportive in
Yeah.
helping Love is a Parable. And I'm just excited about the possibility of doing those things, not just full time, but doing it for a lifetime, man. Like, I really want to make sure
Yeah.
that we're in those positions to impact positive change,
100%
Now,
agreed, bro.
so now the bigger thing is like, you got the House of Creatives going. You have singles coming
Yeah.
out. Are you going to have an album come out soon?
I am planning for an album. I'm gonna say February of next year,
Okay.
and
Okay.
hoping to have a big album release show. So be on the lookout for that.
Will any of the
Um,
singles be on that album? Like any of the singles you released, will they be on the album?
some of them, not all of them. And there'll be
Okay.
some new songs on there. Yeah, there'll be some new songs on there. So, and I'm kind of just I'll probably be re-releasing some of the mixtape stuff that I did because those never got actual distribution, and I feel like that kind of held back some of my old music. And they say like old music is new to people that never heard it. Well, not that many people heard that music, so I'm gonna be re-releasing some of my old stuff too.
Those people are me, because I literally tell you that about We're Here Now all the time.
I'm not re-releasing that one. That one's already done.
I think that you should just reconsider it. It might need to be one. Now,
Reconsider it.
maybe do a remix, because somebody that you have like good energy with is Deuce Terrell.
Hell yeah.
When y'all
Do a
perform,
remix?
yeah, he might need to. Let me go. I'm gonna text him right now. Be like, y'all should do a remix to this one. But I do think that message in
For real?
Be Here Now is so strong. It
yeah.
crossed so many different boundaries and so many different things, and it can connect on so many different levels, that I think that those would be those breakout songs, because you have a couple that transcend cultural boundaries and things like that. It's just for people, period. Sidelines is another one of my favorite. And it's funny that when you talked about the interpretation, I had a different interpretation of it, but both can be true when it came to the song.
What was your interpretation?
Your sideline, I thought you said your sideline was, no, I ain't gonna mess it up. Tell me what your perspective of sidelines were.
For me, I wrote that song because I feel like I'd have to think back. Honestly, it's kind of like I feel more comfortable being on the sidelines. I felt like I was safer and more true to myself when I was on the sidelines and not in the mainstream. Meaning yeah. So that's
I get exactly what you were saying, and I looked at it as a point of observation to strategically move. And so when I thought about sidelines, I thought it was that being in that place where you can see the plays being moved. So when you get into it, you can navigate accordingly. And so when you were saying it, I was like, wow, I didn't think that sidelines was basically a way of avoiding traffic, per se, as much as I thought it was a stance on strategically moving through the traffic, meaning I need to sit on these sidelines until I figure out what my next move is going to be. Then I get into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Whereas I'm thinking I'm getting on the sidelines to move.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think, the point of reflection, and then the one that what is the name of the one you released with not Deuce Terrell? I forgot the gentleman's name.
Is it old? Is it new?
It's new. It was somebody
Can't
from
Let 'Em
Deuce
Know?
Terrell's camp. Yeah, Can't Let Him Know. I saw the cover, but I couldn't see the name.
I heard. Yeah.
That's another one. that I
Yeah,
really liked. Man, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, so that one was really special to me because, so originally it was called Plotting,
Uh-huh.
but I was like, I want to change the name of it. Um, but it's like, you know how people, when they don't see you active on social media, they don't think that you're doing anything.
Right.
So that was the essence of that song. It's like, just I just can't let you know what I'm doing, but I'm doing something. I'm plotting, right? We're
Right.
building the foundation. And what's crazy is that I started writing that song as we were building and building the foundation of the House of Creatives, and me
Gotcha.
starting to get back into music and start building out my release strategy and all those kind of things. So it was like perfectly timed because that's when we were plotting.
Yep, and he didn't even let me know, y'all. It's okay. I was one of the ones he couldn't let him know.
Can't let Jay know. Well,
Yeah,
hold on. I also released a song with Jay on it.
no,
Uh
you
huh.
didn't.
Why? Yes, I did. What is it
And
called?
you
I can't
changed the
remember.
title of that one too.
I can't remember. I can't remember what is it called.
So you changed
Uh,
your title to something the earth now.
Walking the Earth.
You changed right because remember we had a whole nother title for the longest. It was
It was
Angels
Angels
Cry.
Cry. Yeah,
Right.
but ain't no angels was crying on that. Angels was
It
crying.
was in the background. The angel was like, "Whoa."
Oh yeah, I ended up taking out that I can't remember, but anyway, so go check out if you go check out Iconic Bond anywhere, you'll find a song called Walking the Earth, and Jay Dwayne is on that song. So is Cordell rapping for the first time ever. Check it out.
Right. You know what though, and also with Can't Let It Know, I did like the fact that you were doing the singing slash rapping. So I thought that
Yeah.
that was a cool one too. So guys, if you're looking for something different, some type of music that is different, I definitely want to encourage you to go check it out. And I do want to go back and clarify something because I thought about this and it keep forgetting. When we were talking
Uh-oh.
about race,
Oh yeah.
race and ethnicity are not the same thing. Um, you are Egyptian, black as a race, but that's not my ethnicity. And so anybody who's watching, I always go back and I have to be like those teachable moments just because we're living in times where people are combining race and
Yeah.
ethnicity. So I definitely want to make sure to clarify that only so if anybody is watching, race and ethnicity are not the same thing. Race is a classification or a system that was created to group people together. So you can
Yeah.
have several ethnicities within one racial group to make up a
Yeah.
lot of those things. But
Thank you for clarifying that, because most people think my race is considered technically under the United States definition as white, even though I'm from Egypt, which is in Africa. So
and we told him he's definitely not that. He's Hispanic. So Miguel. So
Antonio, I'm gonna change my name.
that's actually my brother's middle name. That's so funny. But so guys, check out that music. Also check out Deuce Terrell's what
Yes.
is fo fo
Four Phones.
Four Phones Entertainment, right?
Four Phones Entertainment. That's Deuce Terrell's camp. They're all amazing artists. They're really, really, really cool. The song me and him did is called For Real. Were you trying to say the name of the song or the camp? I don't know.
No, I was trying to say the name of the camp. You did it right too, because I started thinking of all the people that he has on there, and that's just like a movement. And I want to make sure when we talk about local artists, we're not talking about local artists as if they don't have um, national
Reach. Yeah.
reach. We're talking
Yeah.
about local because they're here
Right.
in the area of North Carolina. And the one thing that I can appreciate what Four Phone Entertainment is doing is they have a whole camp of talent, and they are doing a wonderful job of not only moving together but providing a diverse pool of talent that
Yeah.
actually is very refreshing, to be honest, because we went to a show.
We did.
Look, things that have changed. He even have me out in these clubs.
Like, it was not a club.
It was literally a club.
Don't go telling people we were at a nightclub. It was a venue.
Why you at a nightclub? Now you made us old. We was at a nightclub. We was at Cheers.
Cabaret.
But the fact that I normally don't go to those type of venues, period. It was a great opportunity and very refreshing to see raw and beautiful, like just talented individuals all in a space vibing out. And I think that that's what we need to get back to, though, sense of music is like the cookout that never stops. And I think that we need to get to that place where we start to spend more time together and supporting one another. We got Daquan on. Hey, how you
What's
doing,
up, bro?
brother? Look, I just met him too. Through the internet, through social media. We're in a Facebook group together, and he may be possibly moving to this area, does IT. So it'd be great to have another cool person moving on down here.
Come on down.
So, brother, we're nearing that end. What are some things that you want to leave individuals with? Like, for instance, people who come from different backgrounds. I think we're a prime example of that, who come from different backgrounds and want to step outside and make more connections without compromising who they are. What are some great pointers that, or, like, and when I say who they are, we talk about their faith, family traditions, all of those things. Like, I think that we've done a good job. Like, a lot of people, even though we should have this, we're going to have I'm going to text you about another conversation I want to have once we filter it. But because I was thinking about so many different things earlier today.
Yeah.
But a lot of people think because we have different religious beliefs that we're like at war, and we ain't going to tell them like how many times you've had the Quran. I picked up the Holy Scriptures, the sacred scriptures. And we like really just studied out of each other. Like, you studied out of the Quran, I studied out the scriptures, and we learned more about who we are as believers individually and together.
Right.
So, what are some pointers you want to give the people?
Oh man, you kind of took one. Today, for some reason, I've been thinking about this a lot, and it's be your authentic self at every moment. That doesn't mean, like, for example, and I'll explain this only because it happened. I had a conversation with my boss about this at work. We were talking about being your authentic self anywhere. She was like, but I don't want everybody to be themselves. Be your authentic self. But you know how sometimes at work you just have to code switch a little bit?
Uh-huh.
So, but be your
they call
authentic
it cultural
self.
meshing now. Cultural meshing.
I'm going to keep calling it code switching. Sounds better.
Cultural meshing.
But when I say be your authentic self, means like don't sell your morals and values or your faith or your like the things that are important to you in order to fit in any space. And the reason I say that is because just like Jay said, even though we're of two different faiths, like if you're looking from the outside in, would seem like they should be enemies.
Right.
But we just the example you gave about us sitting together and me looking in the Quran because we're talking about something and I'm trying to verify, you're trying to verify, and we compare notes essentially and talk through our differences. But nowhere in that example or in that situation did either of us felt the need to sell out our faith or our traditions in order to make the other person feel better.
Yep.
So we were authentically ourselves. So I would say the first thing is be yourself at all times. Authentic self. Don't sell your morals or values. Secondly, don't be afraid to speak up. And I say this because a lot of people in the Muslim faith, kind of out of fear usually, or out of, you know how they say like man fears what they don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like Nas said that. I don't know where he got it from, but Nas said it. So Muslims that come to this country that are immigrants, because there's American Muslims, right? African American Muslims were here before any immigrant Muslims. Um, but when the immigrant Muslims come to the United States and they don't understand the culture of the United States, they fear it, and so they don't go out of their comfort zone and speak with people, even just their neighbors. And I was like that growing up. And when I got married to my wife Noor, who's born and raised in Texas,
Down in
you
the
know,
heart of Texas.
and I remember us moving into our first neighborhood. One of the first things that she did was go to the neighbors and make friends. And I was like, "What are you doing? Why are you talking to these strange people?" Right? But she taught me that, and I learned that over time. And honestly, if I hadn't developed that, the day that I saw Jay out in that event, I can't remember what the name of the event was, but it was at some park, and I likely would have
The day of prayer.
the day of prayer. I likely would have just walked right past and didn't want to have a discussion, and none of this would have happened because I was a person who grew up in a bubble. I didn't understand non-Muslims or people of other cultures or people of other faiths. So it was easier to just say, I'm going to ignore all these people, keep it moving. Um, so yeah, so if I were to leave anybody with anything, be your authentic self at all times, and don't be afraid to just talk with people, because right now, especially in the world that we live in, conversation is the only way that we're gonna get through a lot of the struggles and the stuff. That's the first step. Nothing is gonna happen unless we're communicating and having conversations.
I will say it's I'm glad you said about being your authentic self. Um, because there's a misnomer, and I don't know what this is socially. People feel like just because being your authentic self is not always broadcasting your business. There's a difference.
Right.
It's really about you as an individual embracing who you are.
Right.
Once you embrace who you are, you don't have to tell everybody your business. You can be your authentic self as soon as you embrace you and don't compromise who you truly are. That doesn't require a social media post. That doesn't require a newscasting. That doesn't require you to stand in front of a congregate of people to say, "This is me." No, embrace who you are and just chill out and relax and enjoy that. That's why, like, people always say that, like, the best piece that I learned is when I learned that I don't have to share myself with people. And when I'm saying share, that means my thoughts and my words. I don't have to waste my words on people who are undeserving of them.
Mm.
What's going on, Sherry? And I don't have to tell you I don't have to tell you what I believe. I don't have to tell you my faith. I don't have to tell you anything.
Right.
Only I need to accept that, and only I need to believe in that. And I think that we miss so many opportunities to really enjoy ourselves by forcing ourselves onto other people.
Agreed.
You made me think about that when it was happening.
Agreed.
So you done made it home, brother?
I did. But I want to hear what you're going to say. What are you leaving the people with?
I guess mine is similar to yours in that regard of embracing. I think it's all about, remember that it's not just about perspective, it's about
Right.
acceptance. A lot of us want to change certain things, and a lot of us want to grow in certain areas, but you will not grow, you will not change, you will not evolve, you will not do any of those things until first you accept yourself and accept things. Accepting things for what they are doesn't mean you necessarily like them, but you do recognize them.
Mm.
And so often we miss great opportunities because we refuse to accept. But how can you accept, or how can you repair something that you don't even know what it is? How can you build on something that you're not even sure? Like, well, you're an engineer. Look, you're an engineer, but it's the same concept. Like,
This.
how can I build something if I haven't tested the ground first?
Yeah. You can't fix something that you don't even know what the problem is.
I have to accept, like, this ground, like here where I live, retains a lot of water. So if you dig in my yard, you could see that they have a lot of gravel and things like that to get the
Right.
yard conducive for building.
Right.
So when it comes to planning things, it comes to putting things out there, I have to accept the type of yard that I have and understand what I can and cannot put in my yard if I don't want a lot of flooding to occur.
Right.
The same thing with us. There's certain parts of us we just got to learn to accept and get to know before we start to do all of these add-ons and cover-ups or whatever else you want to call them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the other thing is loving yourself is not selfish. Don't feel guilty for loving yourself and spending time with yourself and really getting to know yourself and breaking away from people, no matter who they are. You deserve moments to really love on you, indulge on you. It's not a bad thing to really appreciate you. Now, one thing that is consistent with me that I did when I was married and I'm doing even now that I'm single is I've always taken pictures and I've always dressed up nice. I've always done things for me because I appreciate me. It's not for anybody else to view. It's not for me to get likes. It's not for any of that. But what it is for me to look in the mirror and say, I like me. It's for me to take a picture and say, I like this picture, and I'm going to share the picture I like with y'all, because pictures I don't like, I'm not going to share with y'all because it's about me. But I do believe that it's just time for you to just accept, be aware, and love on you. That's all I got.
That last one, though. So that's real. And Jay can attest to this. I was not somebody who knew anything about what was wrong with me, and I didn't love myself, and I didn't know myself to love myself in the first place when me and Jay first met. And so I just wanted to just second that. Like, that's huge. That's
Look,
huge.
Latanya
And that
came on too, bro.
Hey, yeah. She'll be live at 9 a.m.
Right, tagging us all. And we be in the middle of meetings, and I'm trying to listen to both.
I be like on my third meeting in the morning, like, oh, let me hop on. No, but bro, really, like that second one, that to me was life changing, like truly life altering. To spend time self-reflecting, which I've always done, but for some reason my self-reflection was not really self-reflection. It was just reflection. It wasn't on self, right? So I was thinking about everything that was around me and how those things impacted me, or how I impacted them, but not really just about who I was.
Right.
Once I started doing that, my God, my whole life changed. Everything from my relationship with my wife, my kids, my family, my friends. I was more focused because now I knew exactly who I was and who I wanted to be, and I just accepted it. You know, I am who I am. Like that's it.
Yeah, and I honestly tell you, like, you can get it makes it twice as hard to get through your toughest moments without loving yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that we talked about from a faith standpoint, definitely the Abrahamic faiths is there's so much pressure on being these things and how they look that sometimes we can worship the wrong thing or become slaves to the wrong things and self-neglect. And you can't give anybody things when you're neglecting yourself, because you can't give the best. She said, I love you. love you too. Oh, what's going on? What's up, Commissioner?
Did they announce it?
Well, I feel like, did they officially announce it, Elizabeth? I feel like it should be officially announced. But who am I? Because I'm not in political stuff. But I feel like it should be officially announced. Did they officially announce it, Elizabeth?
Did you win?
Let us know.
Yes, please.
Love is a parable. Oh.
Listen, that is so true. Love advocacy training was eye-opening to like a different level. Y'all need to take that training. Tell them, Jay. Tell them how to sign up for the training, Jay.
y'all need to go to loveisapparable.com and sign up for that Love is a Parable training. I need to know, did they officially do it?
I only saw, the only thing that I saw is that people didn't vote for the bond.
Okay.
I didn't see
Let me
anything
see.
about commissioners yet.
Okay. Well, we'll wait for the official. Well, anyway, she's my commissioner. Oh,
What?
look, brother, it happens not yet.
Yeah.
11-17.
But they already know the bond didn't pass, so they have the numbers.
They still count. What is this? It's only 17,000.
How are they counting? But how are they counting the ballots still if they already know that the bond didn't make it like that? I don't understand. It's okay though.
That's what I be trying to figure out because. But
They
anyway,
must have counted. Oh.
I was proud to see Elizabeth, step out there, do her thing. You know what though? I realized that I love seeing people be courageous and be their authentic selves. Going back to what you were saying before, like I think it's amazing to see people just step out there and do it. It's not necessarily about winning or losing. It's about you owning who you are and stepping out there and do it. Like, who cares if you're the best singer or not? Sing. Who cares if you're the best dancer or not? Dance. You want to start a business? Start it. It don't matter what other people think about it. Just step out there and do it. She's talking about Arizona all over again. Mail-ins and where they mailing this stuff in the Fuquay from? Treason, I tell you. I don't believe it. Look,
fake news.
Stuff up. Right, alternative facts. I'm joking. But no, bro, thanks for coming on. And guys, if you are dealing with anything and you feel like you don't have anybody to talk to, you definitely have us. You can visit everything Love is a Parable, connect with us any type of way. But also you can get connected with creatives through, you can go to thehouseofcreatives.org or theiconicbond.com. Get connected with, like, so much healing takes place just by being engaged with the creative arts. You know what I mean? Yeah. So definitely find ways to empower, strengthen yourself, but also learn how to retreat. Natanya say, I saw a parent at my son's school.
Oh, Elizabeth.
Uh-huh. Greensboro. They mailing this stuff from Greensboro. She said the bond lost like, is that 20,000? 2,000?
2,000.
20,000. 2,000? I can't 2,000. See the little zero. 2,000 votes. There's just 28 votes between me and Jason, and like 100 ballots still need to count. Who they stuffing these ballots from? Where these ballots coming from? Where people mailing ballots from?
This is suspect.
I ain't never heard nobody mail in ballots to Fuquay. But you know what?
It's Thursday. It's Thursday. They still mailing them in on Thursday? Lies.
Now, look. Now we just being silly, but dog, okay. I ain't know. When last time I looked at the numbers, it was like Monday. What did you talk about? Elizabeth Parent, the flyer. Oh, I made a mental note of it today. Oh, got it. Okay, now that makes sense. Well, bro, thanks for being on, man. I love you. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
I'm glad we did that. And y'all, thank y'all for tuning in with us. And we'll let you know when the next check-in. We are in the works of some things, but I'm taking a cue from my bro son. Can't let him know. And we'll be in contact soon. Love you guys. Thank y'all for tuning in.
Love y'all.